Well, we all know what the knowledge refers to generally. The knowledge actually refers to what cab drivers have to learn in London to take clients from A to B in the quickest and most effective route. And actually the knowledge, so if you're a cab driver and you're watching this, this isn't about training as a cab driver. However, you may find the communication models here very effective when you're running a cab, believe me. But what do cab drivers learn? They have to learn 25,000 locations and routes. They actually think that the knowledge is the biggest memory feat of any educational program in the world. So your cabbie is learning to memorize more than anyone else. So they have to be really clever and brilliant to do this stuff. And it takes them 10,000 hours of study. Remember, they do this. They do it like 40 hours a week, driving around on a moped. You see them in London with their little flipboard, and they're learning route after route after route. And they got to memorize it. And then there was a program on TV about this recently, and I was thrilled to watch it. And it was, they just get tested. They get no support. They just have to go out there and learn it. And it takes them about 3 to 4 years doing 40 hours of study a week. They've got no income from this. This is some training. It's a massive feat, yeah? And all this is to navigate the best routes through London. Which made me wonder why we didn't have a program called The Knowledge to help us navigate the best routes through life. I mean, how many hours of study have you spent trying to learn how to live through life, to navigate your way specifically through life? Not as a professional, not as a therapist, but just as a regular human being. And I thought, do you know what's really missing? Is these ideas being applied to everyday life. And that's what this program is about. So it brings in psychology, brings you up to date with some of the neuroscience, the new biology, research into touch and the power of the body and touch for human learning, and also the latest discoveries of quantum science. In other words, do you think that it's worthwhile learning how to navigate through life just because we're alive? Regardless of what work you do, regardless of whether you think of yourself as supremely mentally healthy or you're having real struggles with your mental health. Yeah? Wherever you are on that spectrum, how valuable would it be to have a program that literally walked you through the best routes through life? And after 25 years of doing a fair amount of looking at different models, although I have to say, once I discovered transaction analysis, I found it so effective, I ceased to look elsewhere because I didn't need it. I've always said in massage, you know, a lot of massage therapists run around doing training course after training course, and I say, why are you doing that? And they say, well, I want to learn more. And my argument to that is, well, if what you learned worked, you wouldn't need to go looking for anything else. And in No Man's Massage, we have hundreds of therapists who found something that really works, and so they stick with it. Whereas the vast majority of the bodywork profession is continually rushing around trying to learn something new. And I'm going, but if anything that you learned worked, why would you need to learn something else? If what you learn works, then learn more about what works. Stay with what works. Don't go off after new, stay with what works. And this is what happened with me around communication and transactional analysis. So what is the knowledge? Let's have a quick, I'm going to give you a quick preview of the knowledge, all right, what the knowledge actually involves. So this is effective communication, and there's a picture of foundations in a building. And really, the effective communication that we're doing, which is this online course, going to present you 6 core foundation ideas that will underpin and be very useful for everything, but also will underpin the next steps in the knowledge. In other words, the ideas I'm going to present to you in this model, in effective communication, are actually going to be reinforced again and again and again throughout the rest of the knowledge. So this is an introduction to the core foundational concepts, and you can go away from this course and try these ideas out and see what impact they have on your life and what effect they can have on your life. The next level, level 2, is called mastering the self. And I've got a picture there, which is a kind of almost, you can't see it too well there, but it's a human body made up of all sorts of different buildings, lots of different architectures. It's a body full of buildings. And it made me think, when I saw that picture, I thought that's really interesting, because the architecture of what makes us human is not that simple, actually. Human beings are incredibly complex beings. And finding the best route to navigate through that complexity, the simplest route, is no mean feat, all right? And this is done through 2 weekends, so 2 3-day weekends. And they're about a month apart. And they're really where we hunker down on the how we manage to build our strength and our ability to navigate through life at the self level, mastering ourselves. And then the third level I call mastering script. Now we're going to talk about script later on in this program. But mastering script is also a 2-weekend module. And what this says is it's finding a way to understand and manage more effectively what we've been dealt with from our historical past. So we are not our past, but we are only not our past to the extent that we can manage that past. If we don't learn how to manage our past, we are our past. And that means we are our parents or our grandparents. So mastering the script is a little bit different from mastering the self. Mastering the self is managing ourselves in a kind of here and now moment. Later on we'll be talking about it in strengthening our adult. We'll come to that in a minute. Mastering the script is understanding our history and using that knowledge to take charge from an adult position. So further strengthening of the adult, but with more knowledge and more information about the influences and forces that we're having to deal with in being effective in the here and now. So it looks a bit more at the history. So that's a little bit more about looking at what script messages might have been given to us or we might have taken in our childhood. Yeah, and that would be quite exploratory, quite powerful. And looking at the impact of those ideas. And then we go underneath the line. Now there's a line here. It just happened there was a line in the presentation template that I used. It was really nice because here we go to level 4. Now this is, each level progresses from the previous level. And this is about mastering the unconscious. This also is another 2-weekend module. Now this is where we actually start to learn how to speak the language of the past, the unconscious. Yeah? So we're delving in to the deeper realms of the unconscious, normally reserved for psychotherapists and psychoanalysts, but we're actually doing this through a model that I've been working with for 10 years now, which is using fairy tale language to talk to a very ancient part of the self that actually speaks in the language of fairy tales. I'll explain more of that much later on. But this is really aiming to change the narrative of the past, to impact our experience of the present, to reshape our future. Changing the narrative of the past. So this isn't about here and now stuff. This is about telling ourselves a new story in a new language. Because if you tell the new story in grown-up language, it won't impact on these ancient unconscious parts of the psyche. We know that now. So we need to change the narrative of the past to impact our experience of the present. If we can tell a new story to these really ancient parts of the self, all right, we can soothe and resolve tensions and traumas that sit in the ancient past of our psyche, even though we don't remember. Just with a new story, we soothe that, and that immediately makes our ability to master script and master self a lot easier. In other words, instead of having to hold up a stone or a rock that weighs a ton, we end up holding a rock that weighs a couple of pounds. So much easier to manage. Yeah? But we have to go through this process of the here and now, understanding the past, and then sending a new message into the past. Yeah? And that will reshape our future. All of these reshape the future. Yeah? Level 2, And actually this one, level 1 can reshape your future. If you take the ideas on this course and use them, they will change your present, which will impact on your future. Because the only way to make a new future is to change your now. For us to change our now. For me to change my now is how I change the future. So in every moment now, the really exciting thing is what we're actually doing is we're shaping our future. We're shaping our future with every thought and every response we make. So no pressure there, guys. But you are creating your future with every thought and every response that you make. You can respond this way, you can respond that way. Effective communication, the first level, is about choosing that response. And choosing it wisely, knowing what works. And you see, all of this is taking ideas that I learned as a professional therapist. But this knowledge is not just for the professionals. It's not just for experts. And if you are a professional, this will enhance your professional work massively. It can't but enhance your professional work. But instead of teaching massage therapists how to be better professionals with this stuff and watching the impact on their life, I'm reversing this with the knowledge and I'm saying let's teach it for life and you can see the impact on your professional life if you want. Yeah?